It's Monday, February 13th, 2012. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, will blank destroy the free internet?
Let's do this.
And the answer's no. But we'll get to that. So I went skiing over the weekend, and
Great.
snow was kind of shitty
All right.
because it's been warm. So I decided, all right, I'm not going to, I can't do my fun stuff the whole time.
Well, it's not that warm.
It was warm up there, and it was slightly above freezing, so they couldn't make snow. It was all like ice and shit. So I decided I'll take a lesson. So I go over and I stand, like they line up. They have all these different like icons, and you stand like at the level of your ability, like what you're trying to learn next. So I stood at the far end of like super advanced, like I want to learn whatever you can teach me about the crazy bullshit on the backside of the mountain. And the instructors are all kind of standing there, and one of them looks up and sees me standing there and like taps another guy on the shoulder and points at me. And then they all start like looking at me and talking and huddling. And then I see a paper, rock, scissors. And then this older guy comes over because apparently nobody ever takes the advanced lessons at Hunter Mountain. Like, it's so rare that they were fighting over who got to do it because it's the difference between 90 minutes of telling kids how to not fall over on the bunny slope or jumping crazy off the back mountain doing crazy bullshit.
Right, but it's like, do these guys are they actually super pros who are qualified?
Yes, they are certified like pros.
Because, I mean, you go to Hunter Mountain because it's close. I mean, I don't ski, but I know that's not the awesomest, bestest mountain there is.
It is the awesomest, bestest mountain within a day trip of New York City.
Yeah, but it's, as overall mountains go, it's not like it's the fucking Alps or Vermont or Colorado.
But it's in like the top 500. It's pretty good for what it is.
Yeah, the top 500.
Yeah, there's a lot of dinky, like in Beacon, there was a place like 30 minutes from us called Thunder Ridge.
Okay.
Thunder Ridge had like 2 trails. Mount Beacon used to be a ski resort.
Is that like those 2 water parks?
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. But no, they're like super legit pro instructors because a lot of the race teams like practice at Hunter and then they go compete all over elsewhere and all this stuff. But this was a real lesson and it was difficult and it was fun.
Yeah, they have the same shit at like golf courses. You get the pro whatever. Anyway.
Yep.
So I got to read you this email I just got
at
5:18 p.m. Dear lottery registrant.
Ha!
Congratulations.
Wait a minute. I think I won that same lottery.
The Powerball was $350 million, right? You have been selected to...
I'm going to read it.
You got the same email?
I got the same email. Participate in the 2012 TD 5-Borough Bike Tour.
Oh, damn it.
In fact, everyone in my office who signed up for the lottery also got it.
I have a feeling that there were so many prizes that everyone wins and almost nobody loses.
I'm pretty excited about this. I think it'll be fun.
The only thing it was annoying. It's like... Yeah, you can't bring a camera if you're in it. And I was like, shit, I kind of want to take pictures of the bike tour. I can't take pictures of the bike tour and tour.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's not hard because they were like, you can bring a kid. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy.
Oh, yeah, they have like a shortcut thing they do like for people who can't do
I'm
the
not
whole
going to
thing.
take any shortcuts.
But
I'm not expecting to keep up with any Lance Armstrong types.
I'm looking. I might just try to slip my GoPro in.
Oh, I don't know if maybe they'll let you do that.
Yeah, we'll see. I didn't read the fullness of the rules, so I got to go through all that.
Yeah.
I also got to get to... I think I'm going to use my bike. I'm not going to rent like a road bike.
I don't think you need that bike. And but who knows?
But I am going to push it. Like I'm going to try to go as fast as I can.
I'm going to try to go as fast as I can.
And more importantly, I got to get a smaller Camelback. Because the Camelback I got is like...
I think I might not even wear it, right? It's because you can just grab like waters on the way because you get services. And
we could just get away with having like one
we just
water
need
bottle.
we just need someone to like be in the park or at the end or something with our shit. Like, your wallet. Well, I guess you have to bring your wallet with you, but I need like somebody to be there.
I'm not bringing my wallet. I'm bringing a $20 bill and my driver's license.
Well, yeah,
with a
but
rubber
it's
band.
like you need someone, to have your keys and all that stuff at the end of the thing.
One key, rubber banded.
I need like 3 keys. Anyway. You get the idea.
Yeah, I get the idea.
Your phone. You need your phone. You need someone to be there to help you who's not biking.
No, I'm bringing my phone because I want to do a GPS track on my whole track. In fact, I did that when I was skiing. I actually ran the GPS and got these great graphs.
Where are you going to put it on you?
Pocket.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or I'll put it on one of those shoulder mount things.
Anyway, I entered that lottery exactly 15 minutes before it closed.
11 minutes for me.
Okay.
One of my coworkers.
I think it actually might have been 5. I don't remember.
I was like, oh, because I didn't even know the deadline was that day until they
I didn't even know it was a thing that existed.
I knew it existed. I just never I never tried to sign up for it. I messaged you because my coworker was like, oh shit, the deadline's now.
You messaged me and I was like, what is this thing? And then I saw that the deadline was in 5 minutes and I was like, whatever the fuck it is, I'm signing up. I don't care.
So I got a brief news just because I got to reiterate this. Wi-Fi has no measurable health effects. Stop being weird about this. In this case, my admonition goes to Ontario, particularly an Ontario teachers union.
Admonishment.
Admonishment.
Whatever. Anyway.
It is directed at you. This teachers union is trying to get Wi-Fi banned in the school because of the deleterious health effects.
That's right. Wi-Fi is perfectly safe. The only things you have to worry about are AM radio. FM radio.
My God, AM radio is the worst. What about
airplane radar, naval sonar?
So a lot of these kids, in fact, a lot
weather
of the teachers
radar,
have devices in
solar
their pockets.
Radiation.
And in their pockets, these devices are transmitting at orders of magnitude more power.
Cell phones.
Yeah.
Those are all dangerous.
What about that?
Wi-Fi is totally safe.
What about that crazy ball of fusion in the sky spewing crazy radiation?
I said solar radiation.
Cosmic ray. The thing is, I don't need to even say why this is BS. Like, it's ludicrous. But
the odds are that a cosmic ray hit you today.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
In fact, once when I was at IBM, once when I was at IBM, and once when I was at that broker dealer on Wall Street, at both companies, at one point we had an event that we could literally only describe as, and in fact officially documented as, a bit flip caused by a cosmic ray.
Could have been caused by any number of things that wasn't a cosmic ray.
Well, the thing is, bit flips are pretty rare.
Why didn't you have ECC?
I don't want to get into it. We didn't have ECC.
ECC statistically protects you from 99.999% of any cosmic rays.
Yes, so back in the day,
because the odds of the cosmic rays hitting both spots simultaneously.
Back when I was working at IBM, RAM that supported ECC, there was a lot of trouble with compatibility in different motherboards and things. So
you buy servers, they already have it.
Yeah, and there were problems.
Even
with
Apple
that.
computers already have it.
Yes, and back then,
the Mac Pro has it.
Scott,
anyway.
this was in like 2003 or 2004 maybe.
Even then you could have gotten it.
Yeah, and there were firmware issues where it wasn't compatible, so
anyway,
the ECC had to be disabled.
Let's continue.
Yes.
Let's just do the show about ECC instead.
That'd be a good show. We could talk about the Hamming too. Hamming algorithm.
That's all you.
Yeah, you don't know it?
No.
By heart?
No.
It removes single bit errors in transmissions trivially.
Okay.
With okay overhead. The Hamming code. It's basically a primitive checksum.
With pigs. Oink, oink.
So yeah, this Ontario's teachers union is full of randy woo-woo bullshit, and I just wanted to point this out.
All right, so there's a lot of online edumacations going on, right? And I mean, there's many different kinds of online edumacation. There's, you can take online classes, which typically is there's a professor, he gives you assignments via document sharing, and there's a forum discussion, and maybe there's video lectures, and they're awful, and they're just bullshit ways to get credit without actually learning anything. And then there's like online classes like OpenCourseWare, where, okay, we put all the course materials online, teach yourself. And then, there's like video stuff like that Khan Academy, and there's, of course, just there isn't actually a structured class. You just go on the internet and learn things, which is what I do all day, every day.
Yep.
But MIT has something new, and this one actually looks pretty good. This is MIT launches free online, fully automated course. It's called MIT X, right? And you take a course, and the course is completely automated in that, like, you take assignments, you hand them in, it grades you, it tells you what to do, it's step-by-step sort of thing. And, this thing doesn't really exist. And they say that it is not watered down or any less intense than the real university program. So it's like the computer just is like teaching you and only you, and you have to do all this work and everything. So I'm kind of curious, for someone to test this out and see if you actually get a certificate for completing it, because it's not like you can just, complete it, because it's not easy. You have to actually do the work. And the only one they have right now is an electronics course, beginning in March, which is real soon. But
I could do some electronics. Like, what level is this at? Is this
it's a university level MIT electronics course.
No, but like electronics. So is this about like circuits and like flip flops?
I don't know.
I'm curious. I want to do it.
Then you can go click on the news and you can read.
But
and
I'd have to click and read. I want it aggregated for
if
me.
you can't click and read this, how are you going to pass this course?
You know me. I have surprising discipline to do really useless things, and yet no desire to do things that I actually need to do.
Right. So this is gonna be interesting because like if there's enough of these classes, I think skipping college might actually be even more legitimate. Not and the thing is though, there are some online universities that don't suck. I've heard things about like this Western Governors University. It's actually supposed to be legit. Anyway.
So I do have one more news I do want to talk about a little bit.
Extra news. What are you doing?
Because this is something that has come up a few times in the past, and I guess I wasn't paying attention to the EU, so I didn't really realize this was still kind of a thing. But you might have heard the phrase "right to be forgotten."
Nope, haven't heard it.
Really? So it's the idea that, and this is a Stanford Law Review article, which is pretty good at explaining the whole problem.
Well, you just said Europe though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so why was it Stanford, which is a U.S. university?
The Stanford Law Review examined the legal implications of the EU's continuing bullshit.
So why are they learning about European law in California?
Because law is law, and it would affect U.S. companies doing business in Europe.
I guess I could just see it being problematic. Like if I was a lawyer and I'm a U.S. lawyer trying to pass the bar, and I'm learning so much law, they're cramming it in my brain, and they cram the European laws in there too.
But at the same time,
and then I forget that those are the European laws, and I could get them confused, and then I'm like,
better not read the
I'll be in court. I'll be like, you can't do that, blah 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 law. They'll be like, that's a French law.
What are you gonna be, Scott? You're gonna be like, well, the Magna Carta states.
That's right. I'd be like, fuck, that was in the Magna Carta. Shit.
I was just reading. I got this great book. I was reading the laws that the Burgundians, which was an empire.
Who the fuck are the Burgundians?
Yeah, it's an empire
from
that appeared and
Burgundy?
disappeared a whole bunch of times.
They're not from Burgundy?
That's kind of where they're from, or where they ended up.
Kind of where they're from.
They're from somewhere. It's complicated. I'm reading a book on it. But anyway, I got to read their laws, and their laws were pretty funny.
Okay.
They had a lot of laws about how much. Basically, they had a pretty good system. If you fucked with someone's shit, you had to pay them like a number of times the value of the thing you fucked with, and you had to pay a fine to the king.
Why to the king?
To enforce the law.
Dude, then wouldn't the king want people to do bad shit?
Because it would you gave
That's
way
a bad
more money.
It gives the king an incentive to have bad people.
Most of the money went to the person who was wronged, though. These were like, if you break someone's cart, you owe them 12
That also
times.
gives me an incentive to do fraud. We're like, Rim broke my shit. I make it look like you frame you for breaking my shit.
I have a feeling in the
I hate
Middle
you.
Ages, the peasants didn't really get justice anyway, so I digress. But anyway, the idea of the right to be forgotten is that if now don't interrupt because I know you're going to take issue with this right away. Say I post a picture of my dick to Facebook.
It's on the whole internet now. Tough shit.
So say then I decide I don't want my Facebook account to be there anymore, and
Delete your Facebook account.
I delete it.
Doesn't matter. Your dick picture's still out there.
Because
Because someone definitely
So the
downloaded that
idea
shit.
is that if a picture of my dick is out there and I decide I do not want this factual information about me to be available anymore on the internet,
fucked.
I have the right for it to be taken down by anyone hosting it, and people who don't can be fined crazy amounts of money. They're
Well-
talking like 1 or 2% of global income.
Good luck getting anyone on that's not in your country.
Yeah, so it's the European Union, so they'd go after Google, and Google can't easily just pull out of the European Union. They should if this happens.
Oh, so this isn't a thing they have already?
They want it. It's part of this gigantic. Basically, I don't want to bring this up to talk about the specifics of this ludicrous idea.
It's impossible.
I bring this up.
One person clicks save as on your dick. Now your dick's gone.
I bring this up
No
because
dick.
many times people talk about the idea of privacy, and
We've talked about this 10 billion times.
they want protections of privacy. Now, this is a very succinct argument as to why it's not going to work in the long run. Because if you actually want governments to try to pass laws that will give you any amount of control over your personal data once it has been published somewhere, the only way to do that is with laws like this. So if you read this story, this article, and you think that this is a good idea, and that even if you don't think it's a good, like even if you do think that it is a good idea, you also think that it is enforceable in any reasonable way?
See, here's the thing, right? We've tread the copyright ground is the most tread ground in the internet. It is like there's not even dirt there anymore. It's like just bedrock with like footprints all over it, right? It's actually there's a groove in the bedrock from the pacing back and forth on the copyright grounds, right? And privacy is the second most tread. Like the bedrock is starting to sprout through the dirt, right? And we've talked about those things so much, I don't want to talk about them again. But the thing that's bothering me the most these days is when you go to the internets, you go to places that are typically nerdy, like, say, Boing Boing, for example. Great example. But any place that has similar ideas and philosophies and outlooks on life to Boing Boing and nerdy places, they get this idea that copyright, yeah, there's no way that copyright's going to work, dudes. You got to tone it down. But privacy, they're like, we got to make the privacy even more. Lots of privacy, no copyright. And I'm like, okay, I know why you think these things, but look, you're totally inconsistent here, right? You go copyright. Once that song is out there, it's impossible to put it back in the jar. You can't. The analog hole is unsealable. You just got to change the way you do business, companies, to deal with the fact that information is going to be shared around the world and you can't stop it. When it comes to privacy, it's like no one says, you just got to change the way you got to change the way you live your life and share your information.
You know what
because
this is, Scott?
Once your dick is on the internet, it's just like that song. There's no way to bring your dick back. Your dick's out there.
This is why.
All right, it's the same problem. Once information is released on the internet, it's out for the entire world to see. There's no putting it back. Deal with it. No privacy, no copyrights. That's the way of the world. You got to change the way you do business. You got to change the way you live your life. There is no technological or legal solution. Give the fuck up. And as long as you're consistent on two issues, right? Like if you say more copyright, more privacy, then I'm like, all right, at least you're consistent, even though I disagree. Or if you say less copyright, less privacy, okay, you're on my side. But if you're backwards on either of those two, you're fucked the fuck up.
So read this article because it gives a very nice kind of legal analysis of the whole situation. And it brings up all the examples that I would bring up if we were arguing this.
Obviously.
Like, what if someone else posts factual information about me? Do I have any rights to that data that was acquired legally by someone else? For example,
I took a picture of your dick and I put it on my Flickr.
yeah, because I had my dick out at a party, so you took a picture of it. Now what? Who has the rights to that
It's my dick now.
You really want my dick?
I took it. Or its soul with my camera.
So things of the day.
This is actually kind of a serious, cool thing of the day.
Really? I got a fun, awesome thing that's not serious.
It's not dancing or ponies or anything like that.
Oh my god, I'm looking at my history. It's literally music video, Pokemon mashup, dancing ponies.
Right. So this one is New York City street photographers' 1950s photos found, headed to Queens Museum of Art.
Oh shit, I want to go see that.
So yeah, we can go down there and check them out. But
Because I just found there was an online archive of a whole bunch of photos of New York from the 70s and 80s that surfaced.
yeah, they got really good sculptures there too. I've been there, but it was a long time ago.
We should go as soon as
yeah.
that exhibit opens.
But yeah, they got awesome old photos in the 50s of New York City, and you can see them right here on this post. At least you can see what there are 6, 7, 10 of them. I don't know if there's, but it says here the negatives had been stored in more than 100 envelopes meticulously noted with location and date into large. So I'm pretty sure that there's more than 10 photos there.
That could have been 10 envelopes.
Photographs dating back to the 20s attest to the fact that he was always the family shutterbug, but wasn't until the early 50s that his passion blossomed. Throughout the 50s and early 60s, he made weekend expeditions around New York with his Rolleiflex Automat Model 4 around his neck, producing thousands of images which he developed in a basement darkroom. So they found some dude's photos, and there's 10 awesome ones right here in this blog post.
So think about this. When we're 90, we're going to be able to look back and see all the pictures we took of ourselves from, like, the 2000s.
This is why pictures are a great invention.
Yeah. And digital pictures are great.
And the thing is now only recently have we actually had pictures that were, good enough to actually sort of really, really see. You look at like 1800s photos and it's like a couple people kind of with a blurry, vignette around them. And
I always enjoy seeing paintings, like super good portrait paintings from like the 16, 17,
yeah,
1800s.
but the thing about paintings is like that's not what the dude looks like.
No, because some of them, it's like, yeah, the dude clearly did not look like that because that is too perfect and pretty. But I got some pictures of people where it is clear that is what they actually looked like because who would make up that hideous wart?
Maybe the dude liked his own wart, or it was just such a big wart there was no way you could remove it, right?
Yeah.
without people being like, who's that? It's like Gorbachev. I can remove that. It's like, who's that? Who's that bald guy?
So I'm a big fan now of electro swing, and it reminded me of a band that I was a huge fan of way back in the 90s, the Squirrel Nut Zippers. And they did kind
Why
of
we
like
keep we first were talking about dicks, now nuts.
so they did like
Squirrels.
swing music, and it's really like I like their jam. They're my jam to a good degree. They got weirder
You're
as time went
strangely
on,
obsessed with jam.
and they did. I point out I haven't brought up ponies at all. It's all
Neither
you.
did I. Shut up.
You brought up ponies like 3 times already.
No, you.
So they did a song called "The Ghost of Stephen Foster," which I really like. Stephen Foster is the man who wrote such classics as Camptown Races and Oh Susanna. I learned recently some interesting stuff about him that I'm going to save for another thing of the day that I did not know. But anyway, they have a song, "The Ghost of Stephen Foster." It's kind of a creepy, cool song. I think it's ripe for an electro swing remix. However, there's a music video to the song. The music video is in the old Mickey Mouse, like black and white, haunted house style of animation.
That's a great style.
It's a great music video. It's a great song. Everything about this is great. I think my favorite part's the little ratties.
The ratties are
There's
good.
little ratties like riding the slide with them. You should all watch this. I want it to get over to 1 million views by the time you're done watching it. So briefly, in the meta moment, the book club book is done. We haven't picked the next one yet. The episode is out. We will be at PAX East doing, so far, we have 1 panel we can announce. We will be lecturing on Let's Play Money Making Game.
10, 20, 50.
On Saturday at the con, which is April 7th, at 4:30 p.m. in the Cat Theater. More announcements will come. We have not finalized the schedule for the other things we were doing between
It's actually
PAX.
a lot closer than you think. It's April, right?
I know, we
It's
got to write
Easter.
this fucking panel.
I got it. I
You got it?
It was my idea. I got it.
put it
And my
together.
panels are better than yours anyway.
Get it going
and
quickly.
I need something to do.
Get it going quickly so I can contribute because we gotta get this going.
I don't need your contribution. Anyway,
Besides, I wrote the description for it.
sure.
Games can make their money in many ways, but how do these models affect, intentionally or not, the design choices of the game makers themselves? What about the players? Do you play a game differently depending on how you paid for it? Free
Yeah.
to play,
If
pay
it's free,
once,
I don't feel bad.
subscription, or silly hats? What do these different models mean to games at their core?
If it's free, I don't feel bad stopping playing. But if I paid a lot of money, I feel bad if I don't beat
Only
it.
10 rupees, and hopefully you won't have to pay the door repair charge.
Or per charge.
Yeah. Connecticut, all that stuff coming up. We'll talk about it later. So apparently the internet's going to be destroyed.
How so?
So apparently
You're gonna like take out all 13 root DNS servers at once with bombs.
there's actually 26 because each one has a bag. Anyway.
I'm just saying.
So apparently the do not track functionality that people are using, meaning, hey, advertisers, don't track what I'm doing with your stupid cookies, will ruin the entire free internet because every ad-supported site will go under because they won't make any money anymore. And before we get any further, I'm going to head all this off by pointing out that Adblock did not end the free internet. So what now, Jafra, with your post? What are you thinking? The only people who are saying this are the same advertisers with their scammy bullshit tactics that we tried to get rid of with Adblock.
I think the thing, the article that you're reading is actually an article that agrees with us and is replying to someone else who disagrees with us.
Yeah, I have a list of articles here.
Oh, okay.
I have this whole like chain of discussions, but this argument seems to come up perennially. The idea that, I mean, remember we were at RIT and we had a friend, Luke, who ran a website that had some ads to make money. He ran another website that made money another way. I won't get into that now, other than that I helped him get the content
I don't
for
know
that
why
website.
you did work for free when you were poor.
No, because he was paying.
Oh,
He was paying for that hentai.
okay.
And
And
I-
you just spilled the beans.
I had a wget script that would just like raid hentai sites. So anyway, all that aside, so one day, someone said something like, yeah, I just block ads. And back then, I mean, we would use like host files to block ads. Like,
Thing is,
I've
we
been-
already did a show on this, I'm pretty sure.
we talked about internet advertising in a very general sense 6 years ago.
I think we discussed this exact thing.
So
Someone listen to that show and find out.
I don't think anyone today, that's not even in the RSS feed anymore.
Well, the RSS feed is a different story.
Yeah. So he basically, he noticed, I said something like, yeah, I block ads. Why would I want to see an ad? And he flipped out. he was angry that it, arguing that it was stealing to block an ad on a website. How are websites supposed to make money without ads?
The thing is, more recently he talked about how like, oh well, if you visit the site and you see the ad and you don't click on it, you actually harm the the rate at because it's very important, the what's it called, rate, the conversion rate.
Yep.
Right. So he's like, if you see the ad and you don't click, you're actually hurting the conversion rate, and an ad block person isn't going to click anyway.
Now,
so ad blocking actually helps the conversion rate, though it decreases the views.
I recall this argument occurring when VCRs appeared, and even earlier when remote controls appeared. I don't recall that personally, but I've read articles of people complaining about it and talking about it. People were worried that if you could just change the channel easily, people would change the channel whenever there was an advertisement. That maybe people didn't actually want to watch advertisements. I mean, isn't it stealing? Ted Turner said something like this a long time ago. I'm pretty sure he's come around now. That if you are watching something and you mute the ads, don't pay, you get up and make a sandwich while the ads are on, you're a thief. You're getting your content for free. You're not paying with your eyeballs, but what about the conversion rate? What about, if I don't buy a Chevy every time I see a Chevy ad, am I not stealing from the advertiser?
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? There's the fundamental problem, right? In that all ad sales are bullshit. I can't understand why ad buyers continue to pay what they pay for ads.
All ads are not bullshit. The entire ad market is not bullshit.
It's mostly.
It is, however, mostly bullshit.
But it's like most ads, it's like, who is paying for ads on like weird ass cable channel, that no one watches? It's like that ad is not helping you at all, but you're paying a lot of money.
How do you know?
That.
You could argue that those ads are working because otherwise people couldn't afford to keep buying them.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so every time I've seen a lot of ad buying and selling in all the places I've worked at websites, at various places, and it's always the situation where it seems like the people selling the ads are charging way too much money for something that's not worth what it costs.
But
and
I
the
wonder
ad buyers keep buying.
What I always wonder in this whole thing, like with TV ads, for example, or the ads on like Hulu, who exactly is the fool? Is it the person selling the ad having overvalued this entire business model, or do they know? Is the person buying the ad like a sucker, or do they know too and they're passing on the real cost to someone else? They're just a middleman.
That's possible.
At what point, who is the person who is specifically being ripped off by this?
It's hard. That's why it continues to work, because it's like somehow everyone feels like they're getting a good deal when someone's definitely
here's the messed
not.
up thing. I do see articles talking about how statistically ads actually do work, like car ads. Advertising cars translates directly into car sales, like straight up.
I can't believe that. You're telling me that if, say, Ford, which is a well-known car brand that a lot of people buy, right, and drive, if they just stopped advertising on TV, that their sales would go way down?
So I've read
if
articles
they just stopped spending money on ads?
saying that when you interview people who buy cars, the majority of people are influenced primarily by advertisements they saw, and secondarily by test drives, and third by word of mouth. But two, it talked a lot about how most people, from the decision to buy a car to the execution of that, is less than a couple of weeks, and they do very little independent research.
But you're telling me that if you got rid of all Ford advertisements, that people would forget Ford completely. And then, Ford sales might go down, but are they going to go down enough to at the point at which, the savings from not spending bajillions of dollars on ads is, not a good profit,
I really wonder about that, because notice during the Super Bowl, most of the ads are cars.
Or beer, but cars mostly.
Yeah, cars, soft drinks, and beer are like the only things that get advertised
So it's like,
anymore.
I can't even remember a single actual car that was in any of those ads. I just remember there were a bunch of car ads.
Here's something I've noticed very telling, that when I was a kid and TV was just, I'd watch like The Simpsons and whatever, I could tell you what car manufacturer made every make and model of car.
Well, I just know that anyway. And I
yeah,
haven't
I
watched TV in years except for Super Bowl.
Here's the thing. I used to just know that, like, just completely. But now that I don't see any ads ever, my knowledge is dropping, and I've had to look up a couple of times, like from a make of a car or a model of a car, who made it.
Oh, I still know, even though without seeing the ads.
You know 100%?
Yeah, tell me a car, and I'll tell you.
All right, I don't know, the Elantra.
The Hyundai Elantra?
Yep, you got that. I know that one too, though. It's hard because I can only think of the ones that I still know.
Okay.
But anyway, I've noticed
Hyundai Elantra?
Yeah?
They don't say that, though. The commercials always say Hyundai. Anyway.
So But I saw these articles talking about how people don't actually research their car buying decisions that much and are influenced a lot by advertising. Like ad campaigns correlate to sales pretty strongly in some areas.
Correlate because maybe it's just the companies that are bigger, they get more sales, have more money to spend on ads.
Yep, but like Pepsi right now is having trouble because sales are dropping. So their plan is to do more advertising. And historically, every time a soft drink company does more advertising, they make more sales.
But the more advertising usually also goes along with, like, you know, they always try to make different drinks and stuff. I always wonder that too. Like, why do they try to make like all these different Pepsis? Why don't they just try to really push hard on plain old fucking Pepsi and not make all these different things?
To get all the niche markets?
Are there really that many? Like,
I don't know. All I remember is I used to drink Surge.
That's you.
Yeah. Surge was very important to me. And Kick. Anyway,
so
but
let's go back to the original topic.
So I don't want to talk about the social side of it anymore. Let's just talk about the technology because, I mean, internet advertising right now really only exists, at least on websites, for people who are too dumb to install Adblock.
Yeah.
How is it still working?
Because a lot of people don't put Adblock. Some people, you know, they actually feel like they want the sites to benefit from the ads or whatever.
But if I want that, why don't you enable the mode that downloads the ads and just doesn't display them? Because then everybody wins except the person who bought the ad.
Because you might like the ad and click on it, and then the site really benefits.
Depends on what kind of ad campaign it is.
But you don't know. You don't know without seeing it.
But then again, what if I just, every website I like, I click on the ads all the time, but I don't look at them? What if I make a plugin where I can say, click on every ad of of these sites to give them click-throughs?
Because then it's click fraud, and the site actually gets in trouble because the ad networks can detect that.
But at what point is it click fraud? What if I personally click on ads all the time on sites I like?
It depends how much you do it. Like, if I did it on a site that I visited a zillion times a day, you know, it might come through as a false positive for click fraud because I'm just clicking on the ads so much. Plus, most of the money you can really make is on ads that do something. Like, not just go to the site, but it's like how many people actually fucking sign up for the mailing list, and then, you know, only clicking on the ad once will actually get anything. Or get people to actually buy, you know, an ad for an e-commerce site, and then they actually buy something. Then they make big money because they had like an affiliate, you know.
So I guess what I'm getting at is I do have a question for you, because Adblock didn't kill the internet, you know, the free internet.
Yep.
But I'm wondering if the only reason that's the case is because ad blocking is not actually ubiquitous yet.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like
what would happen if Firefox said, you know what, by default, ad block?
Well, it wouldn't matter because Firefox is actually losing market share.
So what if Firefox and Chrome and IE were all like, you know what, by default, ad block?
That would be the awesomest thing ever.
But would something happen? Because look at YouTube.
The ad networks.
YouTube and College Humor and all those sites have been going down the road of fucking interstitials.
Yeah, well, first of all, Google would never do that.
Google's been doing fucking interstitials.
Google's an ad company.
I know, but they've been doing interstitials on YouTube already.
Yeah. But second of all, right, number one, all the companies that do ads would find ways to get around the ad block. There would be a war of the ad block, right? Because right now...
I point out that war happened like 3 times already, and every time advertisers lost.
But here's the thing. Google was not on either side of that war. Google runs Chrome, so pretend Chrome was run by someone else.
Yep.
So all the browsers were run by people who hated ads, and they all put ad block in, right? So someone's calling me from Texas. I got to see who that is later.
Oh, well, I can interrupt because I was just handed a Valentine. I got a Valentine.
From Emily?
No, it's not from Emily. It's from someone else. It came in a package. Quote, you are 99.9% sweet. And you know who it's from? Applejack.
Okay.
No, it's from our friend Kristen, but it's an Applejack Valentine.
Okay. So as I was saying, right, you know, this ad versus ad blocking war, right, has always been sort of like, you know, DoubleClick and ad networks, which is now owned by Google, versus Adblock and such, right? Adblock Plus is just some open source dudes.
Yep.
If Google was on the other side of that war, you know, they actually were fighting against Adblock Plus. First of all, they'd remove Adblock Plus, you know, well, I said, assuming they don't own Chrome, all right? They would, you know, there's no way you could outcode Google, right? They would totally find ways to make unblockable ads.
They already have, but what they do is they have those stupid pop-ups within YouTube. Mm-hmm. You know, the ones that like overlay the bottom of the video.
Yep.
And they have the interstitials in YouTube that appear occasionally.
Yep.
Now I can get around, like the thing is, you know how I get around that in the end? What I always wanted to do, just to like throw a monkey wrench in all this, is make something like Boxy, right? Or like a browser plugin that whenever one of those interstitial things appears, it downloads it like it's running, but it plays a random YouTube video of a cat instead. Because you could make an OCR kind of thing that would
Right,
go
but
and
the
automatically...
the YouTube video of the cat has an ad in it too.
No, I use a non-YouTube video.
No.
I embed videos. I don't know. I make a server of videos.
Okay.
Or maybe I have a thing that just clicks and closes the overlay ad immediately when it appears. Then what do? Keep popping up? I keep closing it.
The point is you have to keep waiting, right? You know, even if you're they can make
You don't with the overlays.
They can make it so that it's possible to make it to where they will not, you know, the data won't come through to your end until you have either seen the ad or waited an amount of time.
Now, that's the next step. If I had to wait, if they interstitialed everything, like every third video on YouTube would be an interstitial, I would set up the equivalent of a DVR that would let me get ahead on picking videos I want to watch, and it would just save every video and play them on my own like local server, and like I could click on like a video and another video and
but
another
even
video.
then, you're still waiting because
No, because I'm watching the videos I want to watch from my queue. I only wait for
there's that time between when you queued them up and when you started watching. That's your wait period.
It depends. You
You
could
couldn't
set up
click and start watching right then.
by clicking on multiple videos in a row and making playlists. You could set it up to where you never had to actually wait, unless Google really went out of their way. But I point out that as much as I love YouTube, if I couldn't get around all the ads, like if the ads actually got in my way, I would literally stop watching YouTube videos. I would
All
go
right.
somewhere else.
But then where would you go that had the videos?
Vimeo right now.
Well, Vimeo doesn't have the videos.
It has enough.
It's also kind of strict. They don't let you post like videos of video games or a lot of things they don't like.
What I would actually
It's
do
not
is-
like YouTube where you
here's
get
the
to
thing,
post
though, if
anything.
YouTube videos got intrusive enough, I mean, I stopped watching TV partly because I didn't want to deal with the ads that were just so jarring.
You stop
and pointless.
watching YouTube?
I would just stop consuming media that had so many ads. I would rather pay for an ad-free YouTube than have intolerable ads.
Oh, yeah, it's like I just go to BitTorrent and download videos.
Yeah, I would go straight to piracy,
But-
and I wouldn't. It would kill the kicked in the nuts demographic.
They would, for sure.
So, is that it? I mean, the only way to actually.
But there's some people who will sit through it, so what do you do?
So here's my question: is the end game everyone has ad block and no one sees ads, or is the actual end game everybody smart has ad block and the brains of the less enlightened are basically the fodder that allow us to see? Like, are they the guys thrown under the bus so that we can see? Is it future where tech guys block ads and no one else can?
No, I think yes, because no company is ever going to block the ads.
What if I made a
because
company?
that would be opening up the biggest can of worms in the universe.
I would not be uncomfortable forming a company that sold a DVR that straight up blocked ads.
I wonder. We need to talk to a lawyer and see what happens.
I'd form that company in like Australia, and I'd only sell it to non-Australians.
Who knows?
Or I run it through shady channels, and you can donate to me semi-anonymously.
I'm surprised. Like, what license is AdBlock Plus? Because if it's like depending on the license, you could just sell it. You know, you could just be like, hey, you can make a website that's like the ultimate ad blocker, $5, and all you're doing is giving them AdBlock Plus, which is free.
But I guess I'm wondering if there is a point at which everyone's using AdBlock, or if there's a mass of people who just can't be asked to do the trivial thing to not see ads anymore. I mean, I used to do custom stuff, like when the ad
It's weird, like
blocking-
there's some people they actually, we only considered so far the people who, don't block ads because they don't know better, or there are actually people I know where it's not even that they, feel bad for the companies, they want to see the ads to help them out. People legitimately say, I like ads, I want to see them.
Now, what I don't get is the only kind of ad that has ever been useful to me and or effective to me are ads that inform me a product or service class of which I did not know there was an offering exists. But even then, I don't go by the thing that was advertised. I go investigate the class of products I discovered.
Yep.
Or at the best, it might be a TV show I didn't know about. But you know what? I found out about that through word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I usually pirate it to see if it's good before I would pay for it. And if I can't pirate it and I can't get it cheaply, I probably just give up right away. But this article wasn't even talking about that. They're trying to claim that the do not track will kill the free internet. I think the do not track serves the same purpose that the current ad block does.
Well, what
the
there's-
people who let the do not track happen get better ads. The people who don't want to be tracked are the kinds of people who are paranoid about ads anyway, won't click on them.
Yeah. Well, what they're also saying is basically like, look, there are websites out there that make extra money and a lot more money because they have all sorts of tracking in their ads. And if their ads can't track, then those sites aren't going to make so much money, and people won't be able to provide content for free on the internet if they can't make money on ads. And the thing is, it's just weird. These people don't seem to understand. It's like, look, okay, I do go to a lot of sites on the internet that have free content and that is paid for by ads. Like, you go to a website of a newspaper or something like that. I do go to some percentage of those. Most of the stuff, or College Humor, perfect example, right? Most of the stuff that I go see on the internet doesn't even have ads to block. It's just content made by people like us, like this podcast, for people like us. And there's no ads and there's no money being made. It's just everyone putting in a small portion of their salary into, say, for example, Libsyn or Linode or some hosting company or their ISP. And that just pays for everything. Or Amazon. And everyone is just making things freely and sharing them freely with no ads on them. So the free internet, that's like 80% of the stuff I consume on the internet,
Yep.
is in no danger of their advertising being completely outlawed by all world governments, right? There is no threat whatsoever.
Now, I've noticed, too, that when I do see ads, for whatever reason, like I turn off Adblock to take a look. Like I went around looking at the internet today without Adblock just to kind of prep for the show. I did not see a single ad that was for a thing I would ever consider purchasing.
Yeah.
It was mostly ads for cars. I don't need a car, and if I needed a car, I'd do independent research on one.
Yep.
What have I bought recently? I bought the GoPro camera. I researched like 2 weeks.
Out of that.
Yeah, I researched like
I
2 weeks.
also researched that.
I'm like,
it's the best one.
Yeah, like of all the cameras, like that was the best one.
Everyone uses it because it's the best one.
I bought 2 hard drives. I bought the cheapest ones with the most stars on Newegg.
Yeah.
I bought an SD card. I bought the cheapest one on Newegg.
Yep. I bought a shirt.
I bought a shower curtain. Bought the cheapest one on Amazon that wasn't.
Actually, I got the shower curtain I have is the highest rated plastic shower curtain on Amazon. And I know you don't want a plastic one, right? Because we have had many a plastic one over the years, and all of them got mildewy and we threw them away, right?
I had a fabric one that I could wash in a washing machine that worked really well for a long time.
The plastic one that I have now that I bought on Amazon, that was the highest rated one on Amazon. I bought 2 at the time I bought it because I thought I would have to replace it. It's been over a year. It is still perfect.
Nice.
It is the best shower curtain. It just never gets nasty ever. It's like the perfect. Oh my God. It's unbelievable.
So there's the other question of like do not track and all these things. Right now they're just cookies that I voluntarily accept. It's trivial to stop that stuff.
Yeah. You can just be like disable all third-party cookies. Done.
And also, I think there's an inherent right that if I get media is coming into me somehow, like a website or something, I can reformat that media however I want before it hits my eyeballs.
That's true.
So I don't think anyone has any. I mean, if YouTube really went off the hook with their overlay like bottom ads, maybe I just make a thing that blurred them out so I didn't see it.
Well, the thing is, right, is you think you block a cookie, right? But the do not track, what it's supposed to do is there's so many different ways to track someone. People have made these technology demonstrations of like, the Invinca cookie. It's like it uses every method conceivable to try to keep some identification in your browser so that you can go to this site, it'll hit you, and then any other site you go to, if it's got the code on it, they know that it was the same you from the last site, because even if you deleted the cookies and deleted this and deleted that, they still have something in there where they can identify you. And when they identify you, they fill every possible thing back up again. So you have to delete everything again because they put it in the in-browser database. They put it in the cookies. They put it in the flash
but here's
cookies.
the thing. If browser makers were serious about it, they could fight a really good fight to prevent that from working.
But it would also ruin a lot of other useful browser technologies.
I would give them up.
No, you'd be surprised how much you depend on those.
Yeah, the thing is, you know what I did in the old days before there was a reliable ad block?
You had like yes, no, every single.
Yeah, I had a blacklist by default on all images and all flash and everything. And if I went to a website and I wanted to see its content, I would whitelist either specific elements or specific classes of elements for those individual websites.
But you got to admit, that's a pretty horrible experience.
Actually, it wasn't, because as I learned, I only went to about 20 websites on a regular basis. And those websites I whitelisted like right away. And very rarely did I go somewhere where I'd run into something and be like, oh, I can't see something. Granted, you had the problem where you didn't know there were images in Kingdom of Loathing.
That's true. They got ad blocked.
That's so sad you never got to see the lick.
I just saw the word lick. That's enough.
You didn't get to see the actual lick.
Was he good?
It was okay.
I'm gonna search for him right now.
I don't actually remember what he looked like.
I'm looking for him.
And the Zombies.
Uh,
Scott, there's meat in Kingdom of Loathing.
is there?
Yes.
I'm getting it.
There's lots of meat. Remember the meat car?
Yeah, I guess.
You made the meat engine by combining the meat with I think the transaxle or something, and then you combine that with more meat to make
You're
a
getting
meat
off topic here.
car.
Getting
Meat.
Okay.
So what do we do about all this? I mean,
The point is, this guy was like, "Oh man, if companies actually respected do not track, and everyone said don't track me, ad companies and ad sellers and ad buyers wouldn't be able to make as much money or sell more products."
no, they'd go back to the 2000s.
And
That's all.
then, then people who make content on the internet and pay for that content with ads wouldn't be able to keep making that content because they wouldn't make enough monies, and all the free content on the internet would have to be paid for and walled off like New York Times or whatever behind paywalls because the people making the content. And it's like, dude, like I said, most of the content is free with no ads anyway. It's like these people think like the only content that's out there that's worth looking at is
I've
their
noticed
shit.
the people who bring this stuff up are usually the SEO types, or they're the people who they talk about, well, you want to make money on the internet? Here's how to monetize your blog.
It's like, yeah, what about all these people who just don't try to monetize? I mean, most of everybody.
I mean, advertisers approach us pretty occasionally, and Scott usually responds with the same response we give to everyone. Can you give me enough money for my life to change?
Yes, if you give me a life-changing amount of money, I'll put ads on Geeknights. Otherwise, no.
I mean, the first thing I did on my YouTube account for Geeknights was turn off all advertising for all videos and disable any monetization whatsoever.
Yep. Oh, well.
Yeah. I really don't know what the end game is. I don't know if Adblock is going to reach this kind of
I think it's going to
complete
be
ubiquity or not. Because another side thing is there have been issues with, telemarketers. And the do not call list apparently actually really hurt a lot of companies that made a ton of money preying mostly on the elderly.
Yep.
And there are people who actually will buy more stuff if they're subjected to ads, but if they have the ability to opt out of those ads, then they don't buy as much stuff.
That is true.
But whose rights are there in that situation? Is it the right of the person to opt out or the right of the advertiser to contact the person?
And it's tough, right? It's like, okay, maybe we can save that person some money in the short term, right? Because they won't be wasting it on bullshit they don't want. But if we manage to save all the people in that situation, it'll actually hurt the economy, which might end up hurting those people more.
But I saw another
actually
study.
better for those people to waste their money.
I saw another study. This was in
Collectively.
2002 or 3 at RIT. I even had to write a paper on it. And it was in my HCI class, human computer interaction, like interface design and all that. And it showed that older people who were using the internet really wanted ad block and stuff because they clicked on ads and they didn't want to. Like they wanted to avoid ads and spam because they were afraid they'd buy stuff. And they couldn't ignore ads. Young people didn't even see the ads, ad block or no. Like they just glossed over them. And it got to the point to where if you designed a website where the button to do a thing that the website you actually wanted to do looked even vaguely like an ad, kids could not find it.
Yep.
Now, they had no ad block. This was a controlled situation. They literally just blocked out in their brain anything that looked remotely like an advertisement. So maybe that's the end game.
I don't think this is going to be an in-game. Actually, this is one of the weird situations where I'm going to say, you know what's going to happen?
Nah.
Maintaining of status quo for a very, very long time. I see all these flaws all over the place that everyone else sees, but I don't think anything's going to happen. I think it's just going to keep going as it's been going. Everyone's going to keep spending money on ads, putting ads up there, getting money
disagree.
from ads.
I think
for a very long time.
Within the next 30 years, Y plus 30, there's going to be a crisis in the advertising-supported business model across the Western world.
I don't think so.
I think there's going to be a crisis.
As long as companies have a lot of money, they will all, and
because
anyone who wants to get ideas out in the world has money, they will continue to spend that money to put their message out into the world.
Because the Santorum thing, that disgusting word that also happens to be the name of a disgusting guy. So super PACs spend untold millions of dollars to try to plant ideas like that in the populace with a pretty good, level of success. there's a storm of articles funded by a lot of these organizations, the people who support them, trying to say that Google and internet people are unfairly using their power to do things like this, the Santorum quote unquote smear campaign.
Okay.
Not that anyone wants to think about a smear of Santorum.
Ew.
And that it's unfair, and that, there should be regulation to prevent that sort of like bombing of people's identity online or whatever. But I think that itself is astroturfing, trying to cover up for the fact that look what happened there. Dan Savage basically, without a super PAC and without spending millions of dollars, did in 10 minutes what it takes someone old school trying to put a fake like top-down meme into the population $10 million to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Dan Savage type stuff is going to get more and more powerful, and I don't think the old media can keep up because the cost of planting memes in tech-savvy people is going up at an exponential rate.
But here's the thing: what is advertising? Right, advertising now is like there's specific spots for it, and it's like this sort of you can see that it's like advertising. I think the advertising in the future is simply look, there is content. It's all pull content, right? It's not going to be so much pushing. It's going to be all pulling. That's going to win. So everyone's going to, certain content's going to be popular. Certain content's going to be unpopular. And content is just information. So advertising is just going to be, hey, no one's looking at my information because there's so much information in the world. I will give you money if you put my information and attach it to your information. That's pretty much the fundamental thing that it is now. So, if your Dan Savage is so good that he can get the messages out there, there are going to be people who pay him a lot of money to get messages inserted with his messages.
But then there's the Penny Arcade situation of the only reason their voice is so powerful because their voice is trusted. If they ever backed a game that was really shitty, like for real, but you're just assuming that anyone who pays to get a message out there is shitty. There's going to be plenty of people who aren't paying to get their message out there. But here's the question. If someone who's not shitty is paying for the message to get out there, the person who's getting the message out there, if they agree with the message, is basically getting free money because they were likely to spread that message anyway.
Or maybe they weren't.
I mean, how much Burning Wheel did we sell?
Right. But the thing is how, if he had paid us money, we would mention the Burning Wheel in every episode instead of every other episode.
Yeah.
And you would, you get something extra. When you pay someone the monies, you get them to do it.
I don't think that's the real
They're
future,
reminded to do it.
I think it'll get even more subtle. I think the real future is what we're seeing now with politics, of the massive orchestrated astroturfing campaigns complete with entire armies of fake profiles, making fake friendships in forums, and acting like real people with these fake identities.
Well, I mean, you got fake Amazon reviews, fake Newegg reviews, you got fake everything.
But then Google's going to probably step in with the algorithms to weed out the fake.
No,
and then it's
you can't. That's really hard to do. They've been trying for a long time.
I think it'll happen. I think it's a big arms race. But I think all that aside, I think the traditional advertising model of here are ad spots, they are paid directly to be put in places that are ads, is going to have a crisis in the next 30 years. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.